She will not say it! She will not say it! Violet chanted in her head, clinging to the thought like a lifeline. But when another stinging slap landed on her already sore backside, a gasp of pain, mixed with something else she didn't want to acknowledge, escaped her. "Fine! I'm sorry for ditching you, my king," she blurted out, defeated. Asher's face lit up with a smug grin. There it was. The words he'd been waiting for. She'd finally admitted he was her king. His demeanor shifted abruptly, the harshness replaced with a tenderness that felt almost unsettling. He started massaging her reddened skin, his voice softening as he murmured, "Say it again, Violet. I want to hear those words." Humiliation burned in her cheeks as she repeated hollowly, "I'm sorry for trying to leave you, my king." They were just words, she told herself. Saying that didn't mean anything. Right now, all she wanted was for this awful experience to be over. Asher's chest puffed out with pride, his eyes gleaming with a confusing mix of emotions. Then, slowly, deliberately, he leaned down and kissed one of her sore cheeks. Violet froze, her mind reeling. Asher's kiss, while passionate, felt possessive, blurring the lines between affection and obsession, if this could even be called affection. Yet, a disturbing thrill shot through her as his lips grazed her skin. A throbbing sensation began to build low in her belly. "Asher," she whispered, caught between telling him to stop and wanting him to go on. She hated how her body was reacting, hated the way his touch sparked feelings she didn't want to deal with. He lifted his head, his eyes locking onto hers with an intensity that stole her breath. "You have no idea how beautiful you look right now, my little purple," he said, his voice smooth as silk. She wanted to reject his words, to fling them back in his face, but they burrowed under her skin, making her heart race despite her best efforts to shut him out. "You look so good," he continued, his voice. "I just want to take a bite out of you." A shiver ran down her spine, followed by a sharp sting as his teeth grazed her backside. "What the heck, Asher?" Ignoring her protest, he leaned down and bit her other cheek. The first bite had stung, but the second sent a strange wave of pleasure pain through her. "I'm going to put my marks on you, my little queen," he murmured possessively, "so the world will know you're mine." Mortified and overwhelmed, Violet covered her mouth to stifle the sounds escaping her. She felt disconnected from her own body, her reactions alien and unwanted. If Nancy saw her now, she'd be horrified at first. But then, Violet knew her mom. That crazy woman would probably congratulate Asher for putting her in her place. Violet shuddered at the thought of those two ever meeting. That would be a true nightmare. "Aside from your hair," Asher's hands kneaded Violet's backside like it was dough. "This is quickly becoming my favorite part of you." His eyes held a wild look that always left her breathless, a mix of fear and something else she couldn't quite place. "Are you done?" Violet choked out, her face burning. She just wanted to curl up and disappear. Her escape attempt had failed, and now she was stuck in this humiliating situation. "Yes, my queen," Asher purred. Then, before she could relax, he added, "Well, not entirely." Violet's stomach dropped. "You're still gonna punish me?" she asked, her voice shaky. The sting on her skin was still fresh, and she couldn't handle any more pain, no matter how strangely good it had felt. "No," Asher said, a sly grin spreading across his face. "Actually, I'm going to reward you." Violet shivered. "Reward me?" she stammered, caught between dread and anticipation. "Yes, reward you, my queen." Before she could react, Asher flipped her onto her back. She gasped, landing softly on the bed. Asher's eyes, dark and dilated with desire, raked over her. His intense gaze made her pulse quicken. He looked at her like she was prey, a feast he couldn't wait to devour. The smoldering hunger in his expression made Violet's heart race. This wasn't just a guy. This was something primal, something dangerous. And she wasn't sure if she wanted to run or give in. Asher spread Violet's legs and positioned himself between them. Her heart pounded, almost drowning out her thoughts. His gaze locked on hers as he leaned over her, the intensity in his eyes holding her captive. "You should stop me now, Violet," he whispered, his voice a dangerous murmur. "Because once I start, there's no turning back." Violet knew she should push him away. It's what she wanted to do. Yet she couldn't bring herself to do it. Despite everything, she wanted him. She hated herself for this weakness, for this burning desire she couldn't ignore. Her silence was all the answer Asher needed. He captured her hands and pinned them above her head, pressing his body against hers until there was no space left between them, their chests touching in an electrifying connection. Violet held her breath, hyper-aware of his body, the heat radiating from him, captivating her senses. Just as their lips were about to meet, Asher paused. "Aloud," he commanded. As Violet opened her mouth to speak, Asher's lips crashed onto hers, silencing her. The world seemed to tilt as a molten fire ignited within her. Violet felt like she was burning alive, consumed by a sensation so intense it was almost primal. Asher kissed her with a ferocity that left no room for doubt. He kissed like a man possessed, starved for her touch. And now that he had her, he seemed determined to devour her whole. Asher Nightshade tasted of sin, of destruction and chaos, if such things even had a taste. It was a blend that somehow made sense in the fog that clouded her mind. In that moment, Violet realized this wasn't just physical. It was something deeper, something terrifyingly irresistible. Asher Nightshade hadn't just marked her physically. He'd staked a claim deep inside her, somewhere she couldn't reach, somewhere she might not ever want him to leave. As Asher moved against her, Violet moaned, completely lost in the overwhelming sensation. She was so sensitive that even the slightest touch sent shivers down her spine. Her body burned with such intense desire that it drove her crazy that she couldn't use her hands to pull him closer, to close the distance between them, and maybe, just maybe, feel him more directly. Asher seemed to know exactly what she needed, keeping up his teasing rhythm, each movement sending waves of pleasure through her. Violet's moans echoed around the room, a soundtrack to her escalating excitement. She was suddenly super grateful that Asher had made sure her roommates were out cold and wouldn't be woken by her cries of pleasure. "Asher!" she gasped, her voice thick with desire, right on the edge of exploding. But just as she was about to reach her peak, Asher stopped. Confused and frustrated, Violet thought he might be switching things up or just messing with her. But when he stood up and moved away, the sudden loss of contact made it painfully clear he was done. "What are you doing?" Violet asked, disbelief and panic rising in her voice. She was so turned on, it felt almost physically painful to be left hanging like this. With a smirk that looked both mean and calculated, Asher said, "That's my little gift to you, Violet. You'll crave me, hunger for me, burn for me. Your king. Only me." He had her under his thumb, and she'd fallen for it. Hook, line, and sinker. Asher's words hit Violet like a bucket of ice water, dousing the fire of her desire with the chilling realization of just how manipulative he was.
Wait, that's not the end. You've just had a free taste. Now get the full story on the Pocket FM app, link in description. Check out our next video and playlist, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.